Hi everyone, we're here today for a webinar on BIM for everyone. This is a webinar we're going to talk about CYPE architecture, which is a free tool that we have for anybody who wants to start into BIM, especially in architectural design. And here today we have Anne Ferreiro. She's going to present her CYPE architecture. She's a specialist in the topic. She's going to show us the software directly. Hi Anne, how are you doing?
Hello, Douglas. Fine. Nice to be here.
Good to have you here once again. So today we're going to talk about CYPE architecture and also Open BIM layout, which is a software we have for the final drawings and designs. We're going to talk to you in detail in a few moments. And I would like to start the presentation so I can show you a little bit about the software before Anne goes in depth, showing the details of the software like directly. I would like to show you a presentation. So let me share with you my screen so I can tell you a little bit about CYPE architecture. CYPE architecture is a software for architectural design, and it's a free software for BIM modeling that we have. And the idea here is that most people, they procrastinate and they decide not to get into BIM because they think it's going to be too expensive and also too difficult to learn. And here with CYPE architecture, we have a solution for you that is not only going to be very simple for you to understand and to start using. It's going to be free. It's free of charge for anybody to start. And also it's open BIM. We're going to talk about this. So you can collaborate with any other tool you're using right now. So why choose CYPE architecture? As I said before, it has a few features, very interesting feature. First of all, it's open BIM, which means it can connect and collaborate with other software. And it's very easy to learn and it's for free. So let's talk about each one of the specs. So being open BIM means you can collaborate through our BIMserver.center. We're going to talk about this in a few moments, and Anya is going to show you directly. You can collaborate with any other tool. For example, here you see we have a Revit plugin in our CYPE software, and we also have other options for you to upload. Let's say from AutoCAD, from any other brand that you see in the market, as long as you can export any DWG, DXF, IFC file, you can connect it to the BIMserver.center and we can keep working on that project. And also with our CYPE architecture, you are going to be able to export that project to the BIMserver.center and then connect it back to the software you're using or your collaborators are using so you can finish your project. About the software being easy, we're going to show you the interface is very simple to understand. But first of all, you also have many features for you to start learning how to use the software. Especially, I'm talking about the videos that we have for the quick start guide, which is a short format videos from 2-3 minutes for you to start learning the software. And also you have the webinars and video tutorials, which are longer format, not 2-3 minutes, let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and the webinars are longer format, like 1 hour. But you can have all these options for you to learn how to use the software right away. And also, I want to insist that if you go now to BIMserver.center and go to CYPE architecture, you can download the software for free. It's for you to start now. So let's talk about the software. The software, I want to show you some examples from our project gallery, and some of our users, they can share their projects in our project gallery, and you can see here what the software is capable of. So we have some projects here. This is a few apartments, and you can see here we can generate groups that can be repeated, making it very easy for you to create the model. Here we also have another example that shows you that we can model not only the architectural design, but also the structures, and then send that information to other software to analyze the structure, like, for example, CYPE-CAD, CYPE 3D, or any other software that you're using. Here we have a family home that shows you that we can also access a library of furniture for you to add to the project, and you can see here lots of details. Here we have, once again, a group of apartments that we have created and that we can group together to repeat that design throughout the project, making it very easy for you to design it. And here we have a few examples from our gallery that users from CYPE Architecture have created that show you the possibilities of the software. So let's talk about the features. CYPE Architecture has mainly three parts that we can guide you through the process of creating this BIM architecture model. And it all starts with the sketch, and then you move to architectural design, and then you have the furniture library for you to add. So let's start from the architectural design. One of the features that is very interesting from CYPE Architecture, you're probably familiar with some other software in the market for sketch, like SketchUp and others, that you can just generate the volumes and extrude from that design that you're starting and get like the rough idea of what you want to design, what you want to create. Here in CYPE Architecture, you can not only do that, you can not only generate the idea and extrude and shape like the volume that you want, but then you can move that to actual architectural BIM design. We're going to show that in a minute, but the thing here is that you can start from sketches. So here we are designing like the areas, the volumes, and then from these, like from only the volumes, I'm able here to start designing the actual staircase for that building. And here, this is an actual BIM model. So that's not only the sketch. I'm working from the sketch to the BIM model. And then we can go to more detail and get to the actual like architectural design. And then I'm showing you here that I can also create some groups that repeat throughout the building. So I can repeat that group and very easily generate my project. As you can see here, the final project with full detail of each element in the architectural design. And also CYPE Architecture offers you lots of flexibility for you to generate your designs. You can, from the first part, as you can see here in the picture we have, the first tab we have in CYPE Architecture is the sketch tab. The second tab is for architecture. So that's the architectural design that you have. And here you have a very extensive group of tools for you to do your BIM design. And after that, you're going to go into more detail in the furniture part, where you can access a library of furnitures and add it to the model, as you can see here. And I believe you can all see the three tabs that we have there: sketch, architecture, and furniture. We're going to go in depth about that with Anne in a few minutes. So getting back again, CYPE Architecture is an open BIM tool. That means that it can connect to other tools using our BIMserver.center, which is our common data environment, which is also for free for anybody to use. You just have to access and create your own account, and you're going to be able to use the BIMserver.center. And here I can show you that CYPE Architecture is getting information from another software, which is OpenBIMsite. I'm showing you software from CYPE, of course, but you can take information from other softwares also. So here we are taking information from OpenBIMsite about the location, about the site, this way we can take that into consideration in our architectural model. Okay. And here we can also generate the drawings for the building, for the project we have. In this case today, we're going to talk about OpenBIM layout that helps you with that task. Here we're once again with OpenBIMsite, getting information about the location and the site. And here we have the site plumbing. So you can add to your architectural design the actual plumbing with analysis for your project. Okay, so CYPE Architecture is going to be able to connect to all those different tools that can complement your software, your project, with actual BIM information about each element, about the installations, about the site, about the structure here. So you can do the structural analysis, let's say in CypCAD, Cype3D, or any of our softwares or third-party softwares, and keep this open BIM flow of the project. Here we have energy efficiency analysis, etc. Okay, here you have the bill of quantities. You can get all that in your own project. And then in the end, once you have your project finished, a full BIM project with all the analysis, all the actual like calculations needed to have the full project, you can export this project to in FBS format for you to render it and have it more ready to show your customers and to generate like images like we're going to show in OpenBIM layout. So you have the full design process from sketch to architectural design to the rendering, if you export this to rendering, and then you can generate the actual material you want to send to your customers with OpenBIM layout that we are going to show later on. So that's it. That's my very brief presentation about CYPE architecture. So you can now we can dive in with Anne, and she can show you a little bit more about the software in depth, so you get an actual understanding of what the software is capable of doing. Anne, whenever you want, you can show us a little bit about the software and how to use it directly.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. I think you did a good introduction about CYPE architecture, and which is more important is also how this program is connected with other tools through BIMserver.center.
Just to emphasize here, this is BIMserver.center. Take a look up there, everyone. You can get it, and you can go there now and download the software for free for yourself. If you want to pause now and go to your web browser, you can go to BIMserver.center. You're going to be able to access this.
Yes, I'm going to show you really quick how to download the software and how to access the software. You can register here for free, completely for free. I'm going to log in as I already have an account. And this is my main account. As you see, we have here different options, my projects, my contributions, and shared projects. Just to show you and to give you an overview, this is my projects folder. So here you can see I have different types of projects. If I access one of those projects, I will have the activity of the project, the different contributions that are in this project. If I click any of those contributions, I'm going to see all the files that are attached to this contribution. So here in BIMserver.center, you basically are going to be able to manage your project, your work team, work collaboratively, and exchange information between tools which are connected to the platform. Okay, so if you want to download CYPE architecture, OpenBIM layout, or any other tool that is connected to BIMserver.center platform, you just click the drop-down menu on the top right, and you go to Store.
There are a few options there, but I think everybody saw, right? Just click that symbol up there. You go directly to Store, where you can select the softwares we have available for you.
Sure, here also you have different options. Really important, the option of the store. As Douglas has said here, you will find more than 170 applications from different fields, structural analysis, air conditioning, energy analysis, and we saw that all those tools are connected through OpenBIM formats using standardized formats such as IFC, GLTF, or other standardized formats. Okay, so
and there in the middle we have architecture, right? We have here up there in the, if you want to see all the architectural design tools, you have there architecture.
Sure, if you click on the architecture, you will find design tools related to architecture. In this case, I'm going to click on CYPE architecture, and I'm coming to the main page of the store, where here on the right, I can download the software, as I say, for free. Here also, you can see the community, user questions.
Anne, could you click up there in the application website, just to show everybody the site? because that's interesting. I think that's interesting because there you have access to all the text explaining how the software works. For any type software, we always have a website for each one of these, the softwares. And you will see that this website has a very big black button for you to download the software and try it for free if it is a paid version of software. In this case, as it is free, you can just download it. And if you want more information, you can access the videos or the text with images for you to understand how the software works. And here we have the quick start guide that, as Anna is showing, where you have like 2-3 minutes videos, and you can read about the topic it's going to talk about and just learn each one of the steps for you to learn. Very, very practical, very intuitive for you to learn.
Yes, as you say, Douglas, you here clicking in the application website again, you will find all the information about the software, quick start guides, user's manual, etc. Also here in this web, you will find a community where people is asking questions about the programs. Also, the contribution gallery. All those projects have been made with CYPE architecture by our clients. And you can see here tons of projects that have been already developed with this tool. And okay, just for you to know, you can download CYPE architecture from here. You can also download Open BIM layout. Here you have Open BIM layout.
Can you show how to search? Because I think it helps also, right?
Okay, I'm going to show how you can search. Here in the store, you can search by category, or you can have the search here if you are looking for layout. It's really simple.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and here also in Open BIM layout, you can go to application website, download or see some of the drawings that have been made with this tool, and also the community. So yeah,
Open BIM layout we're going to show in the end, but it's a very powerful tool to help you create your layouts. Let's say your if you want to create a flyer or a printing material, etc. Also to create drawings. So that's very useful for you.
Yeah, the good thing about Open BIM layout is that it is based in Open BIM in the use of a standardized format, so we can read any IFC model and just do the drawings with this tool. This model can come from CYPE architecture or Revit or any other tool that is exchanging information in IFC.
And once again, Annie, one of the interesting things that now that you mentioned Revit and etc., there are some very expensive options in the market, and people have access to this for free. Like, this is the way for you to start. It's just CYPE has taken a very bold stance in this, giving the software for free for people to get started, because that's a big step for some engineers for some architects also to start having actual BIM models, because they think, oh, it's going to be too difficult and too expensive. And now there's no excuse.
Yeah, this is the idea that people that are afraid to jump to this BIM model can enter this BIM technology or BIM world for free and just try how to model and realize that BIM gives advantages to any user.
Yes, yes. So now that we've seen the BIMserver.center, maybe we could go directly to the software. You have to see CYPE architecture and see, okay, what the software is able to do, because you can show it much better than I can. One of the first things I see up there, I think is going to be helpful for everybody to see, are the 3 tabs, as we showed before: sketch, architecture, and furniture, that guides you from left to right very simply, for you to have from your first idea, your first draft, until the final model with full details, right?
Right. This is the idea that you navigate through conceptual design to the BIM architecture and finally to the interior design through the furniture. And you always are going to use these tabs, in this order, and also the tools that are inside of these tabs, starting from left to right, is the correct way of using them. As you see,
all CYPE software, they are always designed left to right, top to bottom. If you follow the flow, you usually understand the software. Very, very intuitive.
Mm-hmm. Here you can see just some examples that have been developed with CYPE architecture. single homes. This is a market, some multifamily blocks. Just I wanted to show you this because this gives you an idea of what the software is able to do. Also, it is really important that you can see also here, for example, the site. So we are loading the site from, in this case, from OpenBIM site tool. We have created this site, and then we have downloaded this site in CYPE architecture, and we have started developing those buildings with the starting point of the site. Also, I wanted to show you some examples of this idea of going from sketch to architecture, no, jumping in conceptualization, no. So, for example, here you see the development of a building that I have done, and basically I started with a really simple sketch of the envelope of the building, the total envelope, and I did a really simple distribution of the two types of delewings that I had. Then also I have used the sketch. These all are sketch tools. I have used the sketch to draw the distribution of this the
two groups, right?
Yeah, of those types of delewings. Also, in this case, for example, I did use the furniture to try to see how these spaces are fit, if they are big enough or not.
That's very practical. So you just have the area, you already set the furniture to see how big you need to create each one. And then you have two examples there, and also another example, a square one there. And you can just by coloring your design, you see which one is which.
Sure, this is the idea. You can color these surfaces. So, for example, I have used colors for the type of delewing, but also for the type of room. So it's really visual. And once I have this distribution clear, I have created two, let's say, volumes. No, I'm going to create this building through the use of these volumes. It has one story a studio and 2 stories a studio. So with these volumes, as you see here, I did create the total volume of the building. And in a really simple way here, for example, you have an object library. So you can see these two volumes that I can use. And if I do change anything in this volume, is going to be changed in all of the volumes. So I can see really easily how my building is going to look without having to go into detail of okay, I'm using this specific wall,
so
etc. I'm
what
just
you said is, I
designing.
think it's important to remark. So if you change, so you have the group there, you added different groups to the same to create the volume, the big volume. And then if you change the format of a group, it is going to be automatically changed in the whole building.
Sure,
and that's
yes,
really useful for the design process.
Also, I use the sketch to draw the scheme for the architecture that I'm going to be able to use after in CYPE or CYPE 3D. You see here how I'm building the idea, and at some point I have to jump to the architecture tab. I have to jump and build the actual architecture, the walls, the horizontal elements, the vertical elements. So you see here vertical elements, walls, curtain walls, louver, railing, etc. So I'm going to jump and see here how I've done this jump, transforming the architecture to building elements, okay? And creating also here groups, and using these groups then to develop the final building or the final outcome of the building. This is just an example. For example, another example in the same way. I'm going to switch on some of the sketch information. Here, the same, I did a distribution of the volume. Also, I used the reference from the sketch tab to create this distribution, then the volume. Then I did specify here the different types of delvings and the distribution. Here I used this volume to create the connection with which was really important for this project. Now, as we have this central corridor, and it had to be really clear how the connection is going to work between the left and right block of the building. Also here, let's say jumping to the architecture, I'm using this sketch to jump to the architecture, to do a first approach to this architecture that for sure then has evolved. For example, I'm going to switch on also the apartment A and B, this also has evolved into types of apartments that then really easy. I have repeated through the building. I have added the final details. For example, I decided that I didn't want this part of the block, and I did create a parking lot. You can go into
very easily keep adapting, yes. And Ane, as you are a very experienced user of CYPE architecture, how long did it take you to do a project like this?
I mean, as all the people know, I'm not going to lie to you. All the software requires experience. When you are more experienced, it's going to be easier to use any software. But the truth is that with this method of building from scratch in creating the architecture, you can be developing this project, I don't know, in 2-3 days, really easily, with a complete detail.
With all the details, yeah.
Yeah, with all the details.
Because you can go from the rough idea, from the first idea to all the details, including furniture, in a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pro user, so for me, probably
I know.
One
but
day
the thing
I will be able to do so, but I understand that from new customers,
not everybody who's starting now is going to be able to do
2-3 days, 5 days, depending on how used you are to draw in 3D. But I think it's a really easy approach. Again, this approach of going to sketch from architecture to a simple volume, to a simple floor plan, to something more complex, which is in BIM, which contains information, which has typologies, etc. Which has
going from zero for the first idea to the final project in such an easy way is very interesting. And I believe that everybody can see that, even though I'm not a pro user as you are, I could start and get used to the workflow that it has, and I could do a project in a few days, and I could just get into this BIM world where I have all the information. I can share it with other professionals who are also working with BIM.
Finally, I'm going to explain a little bit the interface, which I think is important. First of all, you have the ribbon where you can find the 3 tabs, as we say, sketch, where you will find what I like to call traditional 3D tools. So lines, planes, extrusions, symmetries, etc. Then the architectural tab, where you will find specifically the BIM modeling tools. So you have vertical elements such as walls, curtain walls, louvers, horizontal elements, floor slabs, suspended ceilings, openings, different types of openings, and also connections, so stairs, ramps, elevators, etc. Here, this is the architectural tab. You can move all these tabs to this line.
To have quick access,
to access them. And also here you will find some common elements in BIM: spaces, groups, as we say, they're really important. Also the intersection of solutions, how we solve the corners, how we solve the slab floor junction, etc. Okay, and finally the furniture. You will find here a library with different appliances, home appliances, sanitary appliances, garden etc.
Okay.
Now, also the other important part is this left part of the interface, and here you will find mainly 3 tabs: views, where you can create any view, okay? Own elements, which is the tab which contains all the elements that I'm inputting in the project, and then read elements, which are the elements, for example, in this case, that I'm reading for other projects, in this case that I show you, no? All these projects that I had.
So once again, we go left to right. First, you have the different views that you want to emphasize from your project. Then you go to the elements you've added, and then the other elements that come from elsewhere, right?
Right. Now I'm going to show you really quick how to go from sketch to architecture. This is going to be a really simple case because
okay, but that's useful for us to know how to start.
But this just to give you an idea. So for example, I could start having, okay, this is my floor plan, and I'm going to draw out the floor plan with the different rooms. Here, for example, really easy. You can do lines also individually, put the amount 6, for example, etc. No?
Okay.
For example, here. Here also on the left, you have the snap option. So if, for example, if I want to do perpendicular or I want to track, here you have these different options. I can track these lines also as any AutoCAD tool, any sketch tool will be doing the same. So once we have this distribution that we could put color to the different parts, but also we could, for example, extrude the volume of this house. So I'm going to extrude in a leg 3, and now I'm just going to click here. As you see, really quick.
Very simple. I think most people, they know how to use this, and really simple to use.
We could use also reference lines. We could create a grid or create some reference lines, for example, for the roof here in 2 meters. So I can create 2 lines here and create this sloped roof through extruding. As you see, it's really simple. And now I have already a volume of my building. I have an idea of the floor plan. And now I want to create.
Move on to architectural design, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I go to this architecture tab now. And 2 things which are really important are the levels and the types. Levels, because levels are mandatory in the IFC standard. So if you are using any Open BIM format, each of the BIM elements has to have these levels. So I'm going just to create a level. So here I just write roof, and I just click here, and this creates automatically a level with the corresponding view. So if we go to level management, we can see here that we have two levels, one of the ground floor and the other one from the roof. Okay.
Okay.
So really important, the levels. I can navigate through these levels. I can go to the floor plan view pressing Alt 4 or pressing this button. I can rotate the floor plans using the shift and the central button of the mouse, just for you to know. And now what I'm going to do is to create, for example.
So just to clarify, you said you're using now shift and the scroll button, right? The
right.
Scroll wheel, the scroll
to
wheel.
Rotate and to come back to the original view, I'm pressing Alt 4. Or you can also come to the original view, clicking this button.
Yes.
Those are 2D views, are 3D views, which are from a specific point of view. So always you will be able to rotate any of these views, okay? And the second part, which is really important, is the types. types are going to create typologies for walls, for columns, for bins, for any bin object or bin element that we have in the project. This is going to help us classify the elements. So then when we go, for example, to CYPE, we can load the different types of columns that we are using, or if we want to do energy efficiency calculation, we can give properties for each type of wall. So for example, I'm creating a wall, which is an internal partition. And then I'm going to give it 5 centimeters thickness. I could choose the color or create a color also. It's interesting to show. We have colors here, but we also have different textures to use in your models. All these textures then are going to be used for rendering. As Douglas said at the beginning, you can export these models to FBX and using them in any rendering programs. These models are going to be classified with colors and textures. So also if you want to change the textures then in, for example, to emotion or that D5 rendering, it will be really easy because they are all classified. So yeah, just creating here the different typologies, for example, the categories in external partition. Then you can save these typologies and use them in another project. So you don't have to create each time categories. So really important: levels, categories, or types. And now what I'm going to do is, okay, I have this architecture. Now I'm going to build the BIM model, no? So I'm going to start with vertical elements. I will put this here, wall. And here, as you see on the top part, you have the properties of this element, okay? And you could draw this element as in any other modeler manually, okay? Just creating a wall manually. You will access the typologies that you have created from this folder, okay? So for example, here, and the internal partition that we created. Okay, but the idea here is also that you have different entry modes. So you could do this entry mode by polyline, by points, or by surface area. And here is what the interesting part, when the interesting part comes. Okay, so I'm doing here by surface area. I'm using the default wall. And as you see here, you can see that each time I put a mouse in a surface coming from the sketch, it's telling me that it's going to generate this architectural wall, this BIM wall, no? So if I click, really simple, I'm just creating these walls in a really simple way, really quick.
Yeah, very fast also.
Very fast. You could do it also dragging.
So once you've defined the element, you just click wherever you want.
I'm going to define this slab, same by surface area. I could drag, and basically is developing these slabs. I'm going to do them. Also, I can select, because you couldn't see it, but you could select the entry point. So in the middle, on the bottom, sorry, on the bottom or on the top. I'm going to select in the middle. And really easy, you can create this model, okay? Also, you could do the same thing with openings, or just, for example, create an opening directly here. Really easy. You can also do it from top view, okay? So you could.
And that's useful. Many people are used to working 2D.
Yeah, top.
So yeah, that's useful for starters, right?
Right, and also you can see, I'm going to let some of these walls they have created here. Okay, also you can see, which is really one thing of the program, is that it doesn't solve out when you are entering the information, the corners. But if I click in this intersection solutions, I could, for example, click these two, and it's going to automatically solve them. I could solve them, all of them together. So you can choose here solve intersections between walls and slabs.
So you will need to select an option for the corners specifically.
Right.
So that you have...
This is going to solve, for example, the intersection between those two corners. Also here you have tools to solve them manually. Really important. Okay, so these are some features we could, I don't know.
Yeah, we did this example very easily and quite fast.
Yeah, really quick example. You could go deep on this, put more detail in each of the parts, etc. But yeah, I think it's interesting to show how to jump from one way to another. Also, I wanted to show finally that this own elements tab will allow me to create any layer that I want. So layer 1, for example. So I can organize the drawing as I want, but also inside these layers, I'm going to see each of the types of elements. So I could switch off walls or floor slabs or the sketch, for example. You could see that this is going to be here organized, and yeah, and it's going to allow you to create your own layers to organize them. That
sounds great. So I think it's quite understandable. I don't know if I need to explain it. I think everybody understood. Here, she can create layers where she can show or hide anything that she wants. So she can keep showing, let's say, the sketch, or hide it, or show the one element and hide the other, etc.
Yeah, but for example, here I have created a layer for each of these apartments. So I can have them separately and work on them separately. Also, when I export, I can tell, okay, which layers I want to export. So I can have here a lot of drawings, but then only export this final model, which is the one I'm going to use to do the structures in MIP. This is a working space. This is a working space. And yeah, you don't have to, you can work in the entire space and then select what you want to export. When you are finished, you are going to go to BIMserver and click share, and this is going to upload the information to BIMserver.center, where I can use it later on. For example, in this case, I have shared the model. I'm not going to share this model right now, but I have shared the model to Open BIM layout, where I can create the floor plans, the elevations, the sections of my building.
So again, now we get to Open BIM layout that we talked about from the beginning, right? That we would move from the first sketch to the final model, architectural model, and then we can go to Open BIM layout. This is another software from CYPE, which is also for free.
You could click here, drawing layout. So this is going to export the model to BIMserver.center and open Open BIM layout. Okay, so you can move to one software to the other. They are all really similar. They are all connected, and you are always working in the same environment, but with software which is really specific. This is for architecture. This is only for layout. Okay, so here you will only find tools for layout. I really think it's easier to learn a software when it's focused only in one thing and not everything is mixed. So
that's not you. That's something that I think it's one of the strongest points from CYPE. So when you have many engineers, it takes a long time to change software because they're usually very busy, and it's hard to stop working to learn a new software. Sometimes some softwares, I'll use once again the example of Revit. We know that usually it's calculated around 160 hours just to do your first project. And these are designed for people who are just modeling, who are doing nothing else. So they have to study it. Let's say if you study it 45 minutes a day, it's kind of 1 year trying to learn how to use the software. In CYPE software, as you have the software modularized, dedicated to only one simple task, and then you have a very simple interface. usually use the example, like, let's say if I have my phone here, you can see my phone. Here's my phone. If my phone had only one app for the whole phone and I want to set the alarm, it's really hard, really complicated. I would have to scroll down the menus and find where is the alarm and etc. It's not an important feature of the phone. But as we have different apps, I just have to find the app, open it, and there's a perfect interface for me to very easily set the alarm for tomorrow at 7 a.m., for example. And here in CYPE, you have different softwares, different apps that do only that task. So you can get into that environment, which is dedicated to that task, and you have a simple interface, and that's great. It makes very, very simple for everybody to learn how to use the software.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So in this case, we only want to do the layout. So we come to OpenBIM layout and we only will find tools to create layouts.
Yes.
As you can see here, I have developed first a commercial dossier, which is really, really when you are selling homes, no, that this is the dossier that you give to the final owners, no, for them to see how it's going to look. And here I'm using the renderings that I've done through the FBX file. Okay. Also here, for example, this is an important feature of BIMserver.center. You could use QR codes, so any user can look for this QR code and then access to the 3D model in their phone. So it's
you can generate from BIMserver.center a QR code. They just scan it with the phone and they can access the actual 3D model to view it, right on their phones. That's great. That's actually
That's really great. Also, for example, here I use QR codes for the type of dwelling. So if I'm trying to sell a house, okay, just took this 3D model. You can see here that I'm combining, for example, which are vectorial drawings with images, with 3D models, no? So you can have the entire overview of the building. These are just some examples. Also here, if you want to go more into detail, no, of these plans, no, create actual floor plans for construction for your town hall, it can be done. Also, you can use different fill options. You can dimension, no, use the dimensions. When you use it has the complete, no, the complete
options
features,
for you
options.
And that's interesting. Like, instead of jamming all that information, all those features inside CYPE architecture and trying to have it, let's say, in a drop-down menu hidden elsewhere, we keep it separate, and then we have now a whole interface dedicated only to that, very visually simple for you to understand and to use. So, and they are connected through the BIMserver.center, as we saw before, and we could connect that same information, let's say, to the structural analysis, to the plumbing installations, or to anything else that we want.
Sure. Here I only have loaded the architecture, but I could load, as you say, the structure, the installation, and create all the floor plans here.
And also, if you make any changes in the architectural design, or in the plumbing installations, or in the structure analysis, it will change also in the final brochure that you are creating, right? It will be changed in the design you have inside layout, OpenBIM layout, sorry.
Sure, this is the good thing about BIMserver.center and the OpenBIM tool. So if I modify my architecture, the modification is going to arrive to OpenBIM layout, and I don't have to create the layouts again. I just have to load the models again. I was just showing here some sections on floor plans. As you can see, it has a lot of detail. This is a vector drawings. You can fill them with different styles. Here you have styles for line thickness, anything that you need for layout. Also, I'm going to show you here this 3D theme part, which is the most important part in terms of that. This is the library where I could find the different scenes, no? So I create, these are my BIM models. Here I have my models. Here I have the categories. I create here the scenes, and then I'm going to input those scenes on the model. So for example, I'm going to this one, and if I click in one scene, I'm just editing this scene. You can see that I can load here the different scenes. I can choose the view. I can choose the scale. I can draw the edges in different ways. Also, I can create different types of images, like a normal, a regular image, an hybrid image, which is a combination between an image and a vector drawing, a monochrome image, a vector image, a completely vector image. So here you have different modes, different qualities when you are using images, also the quality of the printing, the background, if you want it solid white or transparent, a lot of information here that I'm sure that you recognize from any layout program, which is also here. And the idea is that you are able here to develop all the drawings, also extract information from the BIM model, create dimensions, create any type of, so you could just create
to add it in any way you need, right?
Right.
So Ane, just to try to keep our webinar not too long and more concise, I think maybe we could wrap it up and show a little bit of everything that we did. We showed a little bit about CYPE architecture, which is a free tool from CYPE, and it connects to the BIMserver.center to also OpenBIM layout. So we showed these two tools. And I believe today we managed to show, okay, you can go in CYPE architecture from the first idea, your first draft. They've just given you a project, and you can, let's say, maybe you have the site information, and you can add that to OpenBIM to CYPE architecture. Maybe you don't have anything. You can just sketch your ideas from scratch and then move to the actual architectural design, like BIM architectural design, including the characteristics of each element. And then you can go to furniture elements to add to the building, etc. Or you could do as you did here, like use the furniture to size more or less what you want to do from SART. And then once you have that, once you have you can keep like adding details until you have the full detailed architectural design. And then you can generate the layouts with OpenBIM layout. And if you need to add information, let's say from the plumbing, from the structures, for anything like electrical installations or whatever, you can use any of CYPE's tools that we have here on the BIMserver.center available for anybody. And some of these tools, especially the ones we've talked about today, they're free of charge. Like the BIMserver.center is free of charge. CYPE architecture, free of charge. OpenBIM layout, free of charge. They're inviting you to start working in BIM, which I know is a pending task for many professionals working in the field, right?
Sure. Here I'm just showing some examples of our customers. Some of them you can see they are starting. Some of them are have higher. Here you can see higher
more details.
But you can see that it's a really simple tool, and you can draw your buildings, some medium levels. Look, these blocks, just showing some of the information and some of the models that our clients are developing. And yeah, I think
I would dare to say that CYPE is the easiest and fastest tool for you to adapt in your company. So right now in the market, you have some options that are very complicated, take a long time for you to study, and they're also sometimes very expensive. CYPE is the easiest way in to BIM for your company. So I would strongly recommend that you try this tool, CYPE architecture. If you want to try it, go to BIMserver.center, look for it and you can go to store and you can download the software directly now and test it for yourself.
Sure.
So, Anne, I think we managed to show a little bit about what CYPE architecture is able to do. I'm happy with our webinar, and I would like to thank you once again. I've called you a few times already to our webinars to show us a little bit about the software, especially about CYPE architecture, which you are a specialist in. And I'd like to thank you again for your participation in this webinar.
No, thank you. And anytime you can reach me, and it's a pleasure to show the software and its capabilities. Okay,
for everybody watching our webinar today, in the comments, we're going to answer any questions you have. And if you want to try CYPE architecture or Open BIM layout for yourself, go to BIMserver.center, store, and just look for CYPE architecture. You can download it for free. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you once again, Anne. Thank you everybody for watching this, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. Have a nice day. Bye.